Welcome back, everybody. I'm Hadley Bajramovic. I am La Gringa, La Abogado. Is that right? And
Hello,
with
yes.
me today,
Zayra Ivette
who's with me
Padilla, La
today?
Gringa. Happy belated birthday, Hadley. We didn't
Uh,
record yesterday, so it was Hadley's birthday yesterday.
but I did do a Parole in Place
Yeah,
webinar,
women.
which
Yes.
which went really well.
Which we're going to
And
be
the re
sharing under this episode. Should be before
oh,
this
we are
episode.
okay.
Yes.
That's good. And we're excited about the Parole in Place, which you know rolled out on Monday. And yesterday we had in the wild, like somewhere out there in the US, somebody was already approved. It took a 1 day approval. And we have been working on artificial intelligence, like AI solutions for the office for a while. And so I've been looking at, character recognition software and other types of comprehensive um, software for lawyers. So the my guess is that the USCIS is using AI. That's how they're able to do it this quickly. They're able
Mm.
to
Mm-hmm.
use AI to process. That's why we had a 24-hour approval on the parole in place. Whatever magic they're using, great, because
Yeah.
we were
Everybody
guessing
was
it
in
would be
shock
fast.
yesterday
Yeah,
about having an approval already, which is, so great. I mean, I'm sure that person was like beyond, you know, have happy, excited about, having such
yeah,
a quick approval. And, that's why we keep insisting on how important it is to file as soon as possible. Do not wait. Please, do just remember this process is completely online. You're not going to receive any correspondence in the mail. Everything is going to be on the USCIS portal. So, please, like, you know, file as soon as possible. Encourage if you have friends or family member that are still doubting about, is this real? Is this gonna help me? Am I gonna be picked up after after filing by ICE? Because we had somebody ask us this question, am I gonna be exposed? And we're like, well, you can just be picked up right now, and
I know.
if you're actually if you file this process, you're
Uh-huh.
going to be able to be protected, so people have these ideas of like they're vulnerable right now as they are. So why should they wait to do something like this, and being scared about what if I get on the radar and then I'm gonna be picked up, which that happens a lot with our DACAs. When it happened, they're gonna have all my information. I'm gonna be exposed. What if they come and pick me up? Which we never heard anybody's be picked up by ICE after submitting their DACA application. So please,
Yeah.
like, file it ASAP.
Yeah, don't wait for the election. I mean, what are you waiting for? We know now that they can approve these in a day. And guess what? After that person who was approved yesterday probably is filing for work authorization today. So they're going to have work authorization, probably by December. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. If you start this case, you could have work authorization by December. Now, we do believe that the people that are approved that quickly have already done biometrics or fingerprinting because they have something like DACA already or they have a
A
waiver
waiver.
pending. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been fully vetted through biometrics appointments already. But we have a lot of clients that are in that position where they have a waiver pending. And, I've been talking to all of them. I mean, I probably talked to four a day since the announcement.
Announcement, yeah.
And, they're all, yeah, they're disappointed because they've got the waiver pending. They've been waiting. They feel like, they've been working hard and put all their hopes in the waiver. So what's going to happen to the waiver now that they move forward with PIP? And I've been telling people, I'm sorry, but you don't need the waiver anymore. This has made the waiver irrelevant if you're
Mm-hmm.
able to adjust inside the U.S. if there are no permanent bars. But we're going to talk about permanent bars in a moment. People can still file for PIP with permanent bars. I want to make that
Mm-hmm.
clear. You can file for PIP even if you have a permanent bar, but you probably won't be able to adjust. But
And
we'll get into
just
that really.
sorry, Hadley, really quick, mentioning about the waiver, how a lot of our clients are like, like all this time
Hmm.
waiting, we apply for
Yeah.
this waiver. But then, like we said, we've saw on the webinar that Hadley shared yesterday, and also we did one with USAS, correct, Hadley? The one
You mean
Axel
like the
did,
training?
the
Yeah,
training.
that was
Sorry,
an
yeah, the training.
ILRC. Yeah,
Okay,
the
yeah.
ILRC.
They said that they might speed up the process for those who have the waiver approved or they're pending waivers. So there's also a positive thing about having filed the waiver. It's not just like a waste of time and money. Like we're saying, the person that was approved yesterday probably had a waiver approved or pending, and
Hmm.
that's why it got to the process to be speed up for them. So that's just another positive about
Right.
okay, yeah, you waited all this time, you filed the waiver, but there's this positive thing about doing the right processes that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know it looks like money wasted, but the other thing I'm telling people is that once the waiver's approved and you wait another year, if you're from Mexico, to get your appointment in Juarez, that trip is expensive. I mean, people have been estimating that they're spending $3,000 approximately to travel and stay in Juarez. So, if you go through PIP, if you stop that process and go to the PIP route,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to save that money. And not only that, you won't have the stress that people feel when they cross the border into Mexico. I mean, one of our staff
There's
members
no
went.
turning back.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about the moment that they drove. So they drove all along the southern border, and that he said it was ominous the whole way. Driving like, okay, here's the U.S., there's Mexico, and I can't imagine the dread that they built up on that drive, and then drove
Mm-hmm.
over in El Paso, and when they drove over, it was like, that's it, no going back, no
Yeah,
going back. If we're denied, that's the last time in 10 years that we're gonna. My dad is going to see that other side of that border. Well, you don't have to go through that with PIP,
exactly.
and I don't know how much that's worth to people, but as the attorney and Axel, who helps me prepare for these interviews, we prepare 2 or 3 a week. Those people would have done or paid not to go through that.
Yeah.
Everybody
Mm-hmm.
came back. I mean, we haven't sent anybody down there that had major red flags, but they would have paid to not have to go through that.
I mean, currently we have clients who are on that spot that are able to, wait for their whilst interview, but they're opting to do these parole in place instead, because
Right.
they're like, I don't want to send my wife out. Like, I still don't want to take that risk, even though obviously we vetted everything. We make sure that the person who's going to go out is going to be able to come back, and if we know that there's an additional waiver that they might have, they
Right.
might request, we let them know,
Exactly.
okay, this might happen. You might stay, for 2 years or something, or less time, whatever the processing time is. So they already have an idea. They're not just going to be like, oh, well, now what happened and nobody told me anything. So we take our due diligence of doing everything that we possibly can, and then making sure that they know exactly what to expect. um and so they definitely are saying no. I don't want to take that risk. I don't want to, I just want to process everything inside the US, knowing that she's going to be here. Let's say worst case scenario gets denied, she's still or he is going to be here instead of being out in Mexico or in their home country for who knows how long.
Exactly. I think you should go over everything in Spanish.
Yes. Muy bien, gracias. Se hace en el portal de USCIS por sus siglas en inglés, la Oficina de Inmigración, y ya recibimos información que un caso fue aprobado en un día. Así que para nosotros es una gran alegría que obviamente tengamos resultados tan rápidos de este proceso. ¿Qué quiere decir eso? Que seguimos recalcando una y mil veces, por favor, soliciten este beneficio. No se esperen. El mañana, como dicen, no existe. Hablemos de hoy. Así que, por favor, soliciten el Parole in Place, el I-131F, lo más pronto posible, ya que, como ustedes han visto probablemente en otros medios, ya aprobaron un caso y fue aprobado en un día. Así que eso es increíblemente rápido. Todavía, no sé si hay muchas personas que todavía piensan, voy a esperarme, qué tal pasa algo en las elecciones, y por gusto voy a perder este tiempo y dinero. No, por favor, no se esperen, busquen un abogado profesional que tenga obviamente experiencia en inmigración, y que sepa hacer estos casos, porque nuevamente, lo vuelvo a repetir, este proceso va a ser solamente electrónicamente en la página de USCIS por sus siglas en inglés. Así que va a ser todo ahí, no va a recibir correspondencia ni nada por el estilo, todo va a ser electrónicamente. Así que sabemos que es un proceso que es relativamente rápido hacerlo en línea, dependiendo obviamente si tenemos toda la información que se necesita y usted obviamente esté siendo representado por un abogado, como volvemos a repetir. Sabemos que las personas que tengan una orden de deportación que fue obviamente ejecutada, que significa que usted sí lo sacaron del país y usted volvió a entrar, lamentablemente no van a poder solicitar este beneficio. Pero si usted tiene una orden de deportación y usted solo se quedó en el país y no salió, sí hay esa opción de solicitar este beneficio, solamente que usted va a tener que pedir un perdón, que básicamente tiene que mostrar por un escrito legal, mediante un abogado, obviamente, que todo lo positivo o lo bueno de usted en este país. De esa forma ellos van a tomar la decisión si esta persona merece tener este beneficio, a pesar de que tenga esta deportación en su historial. Vemos que esta persona es de buen carácter moral, buen ciudadano, está involucrado en su comunidad o lo que sea. Todo eso tenemos que mostrarlo en ese escrito legal que vamos a presentar a inmigración. Así es que usted tuviese una orden de deportación, como vuelvo a repetir, no ejecutada, que significa que usted no lo sacaron del país. Así que vamos a hablar un poco más de las otras personas que no les aplicaría lamentablemente este proceso, pero es casi la mayoría que les aplica.
So, Zayra, I think I heard you talk a little bit about removal orders, so I want to talk about that. In the training that our staff has been doing with, the institutions that we all trust the most, when something is so new, like Biden PIP, I mean, it's now officially 2 days old. We have been talking to a lot of people with removal orders, and we look at removal orders as having two phases: unexecuted and executed. So somebody could have gone to an immigration judge and immigration hearings and have a removal order from a judge, but never left. That would be an unexecuted removal order. If somebody went through a removal proceeding in the U.S. or ordered removed and left the country, that is an executed removal order. And if somebody has an expedited removal from the Customs and Border Patrol at the border, that is an executed removal order. So, according to the training that we have right now and what we know right now, if you have an executed removal order, meaning that you left the country after being removed, then you are not eligible for the Biden parole in place. However, if you have a non-executed removal order, which means you have not left, even though a judge ordered you removed, then the USCIS will accept what we're calling right now, this is just our office, it's calling it this, we're calling it a mini waiver. The USCIS will allow us to show why an individual is eligible for Biden PIP based on what we call in the law positive equities. Equities are any facts about an individual that show that the individual should be given an exercise of discretion in their favor. We were talking to somebody about half an hour ago whose husband is a veteran, and he is also disabled. Even though that's sad, obviously, it's a positive equity because she needs to be allowed to stay with her husband who did service for the country and is now disabled. Having children is a positive equity. Having children in college is an even stronger positive equity. Having a really long-term employment where the employer really depends on an individual, even when somebody doesn't have work authorization, that's sort of the irony, is a positive equity. Showing that somebody was trying to come into compliance with the law by filing an I-130 is a positive equity. Filing income tax returns is another positive equity. We don't have an exhaustive list of positive equities because they depend on your personal situation. And then we use those facts to advocate that you would merit an exercise of discretion in your favor, which means that the officer should give you PIP because you have all these good reasons to have PIP. And that's for people with unexecuted removal orders and also with minor crimes. We would do the same. But if you have serious crimes, violent crimes, sex crimes, controlled substance crimes, you're not going to be eligible for PIP. But only an attorney can assess that. Yeah. So if you have criminality, my recommendation, of course, and even without criminality, is talk to an experienced immigration attorney. Every day I hear dumb stuff that comes from attorneys. What the person that I just met with said, I heard you had to be married to a U.S. citizen who was born in the U.S. My spouse was naturalized. An attorney told me that I'm not eligible because my spouse naturalized. I'm like, oh, that's dumb. But I never know if the attorney was a real attorney because people think, notarios are attorneys or somebody who comes off very confident and professional was an attorney, but they weren't.
Or who work with USCIS and they're, think they're attorneys and they know everything.
But that's just dumb. A U.S. citizen is a U.S. citizen whether they were born in the U.S. or naturalized, and they had that distinction as of June 17th, 2024. If you were married to a U.S. citizen, doesn't matter whether they were naturalized into citizenship or born in the U.S., and you were married to that person on June 17th, 2024, that is meeting that criteria.
Sí, entonces nuevamente recalcamos lo importante que es de buscar ayuda profesional de un abogado con experiencia, porque también tenemos muchas veces abogados que dicen cada tontera, pero bueno, no sabemos si realmente son abogados, porque a veces las personas dicen abogados y son notarios, son paralegales, o dice que esta persona trabajó en la oficina de inmigración USCIS por sus siglas en inglés y supuestamente saben lo que están haciendo o tienen conectes que le llamamos en la oficina y por esa razón tienen esa capacidad de darles esta información a ustedes, pero no es así, tiene que ser un abogado con experiencia y buscar este tipo de profesionales porque es muy importante. Obviamente, si usted tiene un historial criminal, por favor, busque ayuda de un abogado migratorio para asegurarse que usted sea realmente, le aplique este tipo de proceso, obviamente. Como volvemos a decir, las personas que tienen una orden de deportación, pero nunca salieron del país, estas personas sí les aplica este proceso. Pero si usted tuvo una orden de deportación, lo sacaron del país y usted nuevamente está adentro, lamentablemente no va a poder solicitar este beneficio. También las personas que fueron deportados inmediatamente en la frontera por un oficial de la frontera, lamentablemente tampoco se podría hacer nada. Entonces, todas las personas que sí tienen una deportación, pero nunca fue ejecutada, que se le llama, o que la persona no fue sacada del país, van a poder solicitar este beneficio. Ayer tuvimos una consulta que una persona dijo, un abogado me dijo que supuestamente mi esposo no se considera un ciudadano de este país porque él no nació aquí. Obviamente, ciudadano de este país es cualquier persona que nació en este país o se hizo ciudadano de este país. Así que no hay diferencia uno del otro. Así que por favor busquen ayuda profesional con personas con experiencia, porque obviamente siempre va a haber algún abogado, si es que es un abogado, tal vez novato o no con mucha experiencia, que le diga información incorrecta, lamentablemente, tristemente, pero por favor, busque esa ayuda y realmente pregunte si es que algo no suena muy correcto, busque una segunda opinión, no se quede con esa opinión de esta persona que usted piensa que no suena como algo coherente o correcto.
Yeah, I know I've told you this, and it's just awkward to have somebody who's come to us for a second opinion who's been so poorly advised to gain somebody's trust.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that was just particularly bad advice. Like, but
Yeah,
anyway,
and we have so many of those consultations that people have been very bad advised, or they're currently with an attorney that they're not happy with, and they want a second opinion.
yeah. So anyway, we're happy though that we've been pretty much on the mark all along in our advising. We weren't sure procedurally how we were going to file, so we were explaining to everybody all along how it worked from military parole in place. The USCIS upped their game like big time with this online filing, which we did not expect, which we're
Mm-hmm.
thrilled about. Being able to file online, our clients are creating their own USCIS accounts, which will be connected forevermore to any immigration filing they ever do, which
Mm-hmm.
is the USCIS will recognize names and information and always put any future applications on your USCIS account. And that way, the applicant will always get up to date information on the processing of the case.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very pleased about that. Nobody is having to be inspected in person. We did expect that because that's what parole is like an
Mm-hmm.
inspection, but they're not requiring people to meet an officer in person. Um, and right now, I do recommend that everybody use an immigration attorney because this is administrative law, and there's always a high risk of error anytime you complete a form,
Mm-hmm.
and bad information, it can follow you through the rest of your immigration experience, and it can cause sometimes permanent harm. So, as always, we recommend that you seek advice from an experienced immigration attorney in this process, which, is turning out to be an amazing gift from President Biden.
Ujú. Sí, y nuevamente queremos recalcar lo importante que ha sido nosotros darles la información lo más correcta posible y hemos acertado en muchas cosas. Nos llena de gran satisfacción el hecho de que este proceso es electrónicamente. Eso ayuda y es un avance que obviamente inmigración, la Oficina de Inmigración USCIS, por sus siglas en inglés, han hecho de hacer este proceso totalmente electrónico. Así que va a ser un gran beneficio. Por esa razón se pudo obtener una aprobación tan rápido, ¿verdad? Entonces, nuevamente le queremos recalcar que lo importante que es que usted busque ayuda de un abogado de inmigración con experiencia, porque esta es ley administrativa que se le llama, que obviamente toda la información que usted va a poner en esa solicitud se va a quedar ahí. Así que es muy importante que sea correcta y lo más acerta posible, aceptada posible, perdón, porque es muy importante que esa información que usted va a proporcionar va a ser la correcta y verdadera, y porque eso se va a mantener un registro en línea por siempre hasta que su proceso migratorio termine, por decir. Así que es muy importante que ustedes sepan quién le está ayudando, que sea un abogado con experiencia, obviamente, y que toda esa información que usted va a proporcionar va a ser la información correcta y que usted no va a tener pena de que ya puse esta información y alguien me lo hizo mal y ahora qué voy a hacer. Por esa razón es muy importante.
So I think that's all for today. We're going to start going over processes again. We've spent a lot of time on Parole in Place because we really are excited about it. And again, what are you waiting for? Go for it. Do it now. If you want to meet with us and talk to us about why you're concerned about not moving forward, we're going to put the information here on the podcast about how to reach out to us to have a free consultation. Thank you, everybody.
Gracias. Nuevamente, por favor, soliciten, háganlo lo más pronto posible y si gustan una consulta con nosotros, con mucho gusto se la podemos dar. Por favor, vean los enlaces en nuestro podcast. Así que nos vemos pronto. Déjenos sus mensajes y comentarios. Siempre se los agradecemos. Se despide de ustedes, Zayra Ivette Padilla, la Chapina.
And from me, Hadley Bajramovic, the Gringa, we will see you soon.